Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a new season of the To Hull and Back podcast, proudly sponsored by Kingfisher and Old Zoological Bar in Hull. I'm your host, Nathaniel, and tonight I'm joined by Will and Joe to discuss something that happened at the Euros. I don't really remember what. I don't think anything important happened. And then all of Hull City's new and exciting transfers that we've definitely made. So, Joe, Will, how are you guys doing? You excited for
England
new
lost, Nathaniel.
content?
Just admit it and just accept it.
I don't.
It's
I
not
don't.
coming
I don't
home.
recall. I don't recall. It's coming home 2 years' time.
Can I just say, right, this whole tournament, we never ever said it's coming home until the final because it was the football was, let's be honest, it was dire. We scraped our way through pretty much everything, so we didn't think it was coming home. As soon as people start saying it's coming home, it all falls apart. Stop saying it until we've won something.
I said it as soon as the tournament started.
I think it's more to do with the fact that Spain are very good.
Yeah.
Well, there is that.
We didn't win it.
But it's the song now is a jinx.
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, I think the only game I didn't say that was the final, because until then it's sort of a joke. But if you say it when you're in the final, then you sort of mean it. But yeah, I mean, there's been so much debate about the style of play, or really, there wasn't a style of play. That was the problem. We were just downright dreadful. I think in the previous three tournaments, Southgate has rightly been criticised at times for sort of stuffy, boring style of play. But it was a style of play, whereas it was a complete shambles from start to finish, bar the first half of the Netherlands game. That was the only time we played well. I think we played okay first half against Switzerland, and then everything else was garbage. Yeah. So, of course, Southgate's resigned. I thought he was going to resign regardless of the result.
Agreed.
But I mean, I think he has, he's been, second most, probably second most successful England manager and second longest serving, or in terms of
Well,
games.
automatically, it was just by getting to a final.
Yeah, and then two. So he has done a lot of good work. I think somehow, despite getting to a final, which is a good thing, he's actually undone some of that good work by how it went in the Euros somehow. I don't know how that works, but it does. So, I mean, I respect him very much, but Will, thoughts on Southgate? How do you see his legacy?
Well, his legacy is going to be nothing but positive because we had 4 decent tournaments under him, pretty much.
Yes, sensible.
I know it's easy, and I criticise him quite a lot. The Euros hasn't been great. It's probably dampened. It's weird because we got to the final yet. It's somewhat probably slightly dampened his legacy, but it hasn't really because we got to the final, in spite of the way the team played. The final didn't bother me too much. Spain deserved to win it. Not too bothered about losing to them. They were the best team in the entire tournament by far. So losing to them is no problem. But it felt like it was always going to be Southgate's last tournament, regardless of what happened. And it's just all about kicking on and improving on what he has set up. Because essentially his main, the best thing he's done is he's changed the mentality around the team, both inside and outside. Like, obviously, for years England felt like it's going to sound weird considering how bad the football was at this tournament, but for years England felt like a chore to watch, and it hadn't under Southgate. And for the most part under Southgate at tournaments, it felt good.
Yeah.
So it was a nice change of pace from the mediocrity of the supposed golden generation from what probably is the actual golden generation. And I think it's a good starting point for someone who's got a bit more tactical nous to improve on. And now we've got over that, it's time to get back onto Hull City.
Oh, Joe, you got to have your piece.
I just want to say, really, I want to echo what Will said, first of all. When Gareth Southgate took the national team over, it was a mess. Sam Allardyce had been stung.
Pint of wine.
Yeah. Well, you see, with a pint of wine before kickoff. And he inherited a mess. Players, not just was England a chore to watch at tournaments, players have said at times it felt like a chore going to play for England as well, because there was the weight of expectation put upon them, and there was the sort of Chelsea cohort and the Man United cohort and the Liverpool cohort. Southgate scrapped all of that, and they were together as one group the whole way. You'd have your Declan Rices at West Ham, then Arsenal, mingling with the Man City boys, the Chelsea boys, the Real Madrid lad in Jude Bellingham. So Gareth Southgate deserves an awful lot of credit for the work he's done over the past 8 years since he took the England job. Initially on an interim, I think it was, and then permanently as well. And as for the final, yeah, agree with what Will said. Spain with a better team on the night, ultimately overall deserved to win it in the tournament, came past Italy in their group stage. Then they had France and Germany and beat us. So fair play to them ultimately. And Cole Palmer's goal was great, but it's just a shame that as soon as we scored that goal, we sat back again and did what England defaulted to under Gareth Southgate. But all eyes can turn to who his successor is going to be, and the simple fact of the matter is no one really knows at this point.
I've seen a lot of things saying that actually England, especially considering that I don't think it normally happens like this, that the next 6 games for England are essentially those friendly matches, the 6 Nations League matches, and it's not even possible to win the Nations League this year because we got relegated the last time. So if it is an interim manager, which it might be for the first year, it wouldn't matter as much. But also,
I saw those rumours saying an interim manager and then trying to coax someone like Pep Guardiola into the England job when his Man City contract expires. I don't think that's happening. I think the next England manager is going to also be English. Probably Graham Potter at this moment in time, though. I'd maybe slightly prefer Eddie Howe. But I mean, I'm fine with you. I mean, like Lee Carrs has been mentioned, who was the England under-21 manager. Has won stuff with the England 21s. And I know it's a similar one to Southgate, just promoting from within, but it's proven to at least have some benefit.
I think it has, but I think that the way we've played in the 2 finals shows that the way we play under Southgate has merit, but you can't win a tournament on mentality alone. You need the tactical nous that the Italians, that Mancini and Luis Enrique have had. Well, there was still.
It's not a bad place to start, though, isn't it? The Nations League, because our group, I think, is Finland, Ireland, and Greece, which they're not easy teams, but they're not.
Oh, I was going to say it's easy.
It's not easy teams, but it's not like as hard as previous ones have been.
Finland, Ireland, and Greece, they were great at the Euros.
Cheers, Nathaniel.
The joke is that they didn't qualify.
Yes, we all got that. So on that,
let's just, who would we have if you could pick anyone, or not anyone, because then it would be Guardiola, I assume, but who would you like to see being England manager?
I might be controversial here. I wouldn't go for Pep Guardiola. Because I think his system and the way he plays relies on players being together for an extended period of time and getting to grips with it.
And so he couldn't do that in a year, maybe 2 years. He couldn't do it in a year.
When he sees them for maximum 6 months a year, well, not 6 months a year, 6 weeks a year, he's not going to have time to drill them the same way he has done at Man City over the last 8 years, right? So for me, I think it'll end up being Graham Potter. Yeah, I think he's ready for a return to management, and in the sort of hiatus he's had since he left Chelsea, the England job will allow him to still have a little bit of that sort of family time that he might be used to. So I think he'll go for it, and it's obviously the biggest job for any English manager ever. And briefly, should we just talk about Rossini potentially going to Strasbourg or not?
Yeah, sure. I mean, fair play. I would also turn down Sunderland for Strasbourg.
Yeah, nice weather. Higher profile. Would we say that leaving Hull in the Championship, going to Ligue 1 to Strasbourg, that's a step up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Technically, yeah, but they are a Chelsea sort of feeder club, which is worth mentioning.
Or was it Man City? They're
No.
owned by someone, aren't they?
Man City are ASAC Troy.
You're right.
And within that, there's obviously Girona and Melbourne City and New York City and all that. Yeah.
My colleague Hayden saw me down the river there. He said that they were a Man City feeder club. I got that wrong. So, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that.
We'll forgive you.
I mean, really, Pep Guardiola is going to be the best manager over a 38-game season. But we've seen with the Champions League, Man City, since he's been there, they've always had one of the best teams, and they struggle in the knockout format. Whereas you need someone who has done it more sort of knockout or just sort of a little bit more defensive-minded, I think, probably. Yeah, it'll be very interesting, but I think Southgate, what he's done, he's laid the foundations, and hopefully they don't have to rebuild the mentality of the team. They just need to add on top of it. And not many managers leave a role in a better position than when they started. And definitely the team is in a better place than when he picked it up after the shambles of Euro 2016 and Iceland.
And Allardyce.
And Allardyce. And just the sort of, the attitude of looking at the England job and the team, and it sort of being you're right, it was a chore to watch at the best of times and a disaster at the worst.
Just think different things could have been, though, if the FA, instead of Sam Allardyce, went to Steve Bruce when he left us.
Oh, we'd have won the World Cup and the Euros.
We'd have won everything. Everything.
Yeah, well, 1-0 every game. You could do it. Southgate almost did, so.
Alex Bruce and Curtis Davis at the back in 2018.
I mean, Alex Bruce plays for Northern Ireland, so.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah.
Who cares? The flag's close enough.
Alex, do you want to change your nationality to come and play for England?
It's like he was in the room. It's like he was in the room. Amazing.
Who?
I don't know. Someone.
Steve Bruce or Keir Starmer.
So I don't really want to talk about Hull City because it's equally.
No,
I
think we should. I think we absolutely should, Nathaniel.
It's the Tahana Back podcast, yes.
I think, what, shall we start with Cash and Pasha, which no one watched?
Well, I think the main thing to mention is that I'm pretty sure we'd actually signed Giles on a permanent deal the last time we spoke, and we've not signed anyone since then. And
correct.
This time last year, we'd only signed 3 players, so most of them came afterwards. But about 15 to 20 players have left. None have come in. That's the main cause of concern, I'd say. A lot of them have left. Their loans, or you don't want to give them a new contract, and quite rightly so. A lot of those players needed to go. I think the only player who's left I'm upset about, of course, I'm upset Greaves and Philogene have left, but I expected it was the Tufan one that I was quite annoyed about. I didn't expect him to go, but where are we with the Adjan ownership at the moment? Because a lot of people have been very critical that we haven't brought in new players, but there's still time to bring these players in, isn't there?
Yeah. Can I jump in quickly? Because I was told on Twitter earlier in the week that I'm not allowed to benefit from good things Adjan has done off the pitch because I've been critical of him opening his mouth too early before deals are done, saying we're absolutely going to sign a striker.
Countless times.
Yeah, countless times. And it just so happens that this one time the deal has fallen through. Other times he's been fine saying these things. But it's not necessarily a criticism of Adjan. It's just have a filter kind of advice, as in, don't get us all excited saying that it's done when it's absolutely not done. And there was, if we think back to Dokan Cynic, that when that the name came out because Adjan said in the press, "Oh yeah, we're signing Dokan Cynic," and then the move wasn't done for ages. And
Twine, it happened for Twine. We said we were getting him. Burnley came in. Same with Yukushlu just this summer as well.
Oh yeah. To be honest,
What, the player we haven't signed yet? It's funny that.
Oh, I know. And it's quite interesting, the sort of contrast between Tan's interview on BBC Radio Humberside and Adjun in the press conference at Riva on Wednesday. Tan said, look, we're interested in Nokai Yukushlu, yes, but if it's not financially viable for us, i.e. West Brom wants a hell of a lot of money because he's because he'd be going to another championship side, even though he's in the last year of his contract. If it's not financially a good deal, we will not do the deal. And then there's Adjun a day later saying in the press conference when it's translated, yeah, we'll sign him. He's going to be part of our team. And yes, there's the whole Turkish press element and what have you. But having spent a week with a lot of the media guys, one of their big, like, for people listening, by the way, the media team will not sit on a player announcement unless it's like...
No, they will not.
They absolutely will not. The most they'll sit on it for is a day if they don't get a certain amount of... If they can't get content.
They might sit on it for, like, if it's close to deadline day, to announce it on deadline day, because there's always a furore about deadline day. But apart from that, it's not really a thing that's done, at least in our club anyway.
It's not. Maximum they'll do is, let's say they get the call late to do photos and that editing takes over and the content editing rolls over into the next day, then they will agree a time to confirm the deal with the club on that following day. Most of the time, get the turnaround done straight away. So the only example I can think of them sitting on an announcement is Adama Traore when he signed and came in injured, so they could afford to wait and sit on it till deadline day. Let's clear that up straight away. Then it's not a case of that. They will announce something as soon as there is something to announce. Talk about this right back. Baz might have jumped the gun on saying it was done early, but things equally can just take time. Baz doesn't deserve to be vilified for reporting the information that he is given by a source he trusts at the club. Let's spell that clear as well. As soon as the club have something to announce, they will announce it.
Yeah, quite right. I'm not even sure that the bar, maybe, I'm thinking it's Code Drame, the right back, the free agent we might sign, although it's Monday. It's supposed to be with at the team training camp at the moment. So it might be announced in a day or two. I don't even feel like there are many players that we're close to signing. All of the rumours we're getting are either unsubstantiated or they're Fenerbahce players, and we're linked to every Fenerbahce player. I don't know how many of those are actually serious. Let's
talk about the Fenerbahce players as well. It's probably all nonsense. Nowhere have we got 15 million to blow on all three.
Everyone, and 3 midfielders.
Losing your mind.
They're not all going to play.
Yes,
so you wouldn't.
When you consider we've got Seri, Slater, Simons all already here. Abdush can play centrally. Harry Vaughan can play more advanced centrally. We're not going to spend 15 million euros, which equates to, about 14 million quid.
It's our whole budget, allegedly.
Yeah, our whole budget on 3 midfielders from Fenerbahce.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
Absolutely not.
No. So, I mean, there are some players we're linked to, but I don't really want to go through them all because none of them really attract the eye either.
That's the one I wanted to mention, because that one does seem like it might be legit.
Yeah,
I'm just seeing lots of different reports at the moment about we're definitely signing this player, but then also we've not made a bid for them. I don't even know. But I mean, so that's a winger / attack midfielder from the Korean League. Maybe good.
From the K League one, Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors. Other car dealerships are available. I think on that one, at the time of recording, both Baz and Mike White will be off. Mike has confirmed that when I spoke to him on the plane, he said he's having, obviously, Saturday, then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, not doing anything because he's worked 10 days flat out. And I imagine Baz will be doing the same.
I reckon that's probably true. And unless there's an actual signing that's announced or that they know it's going to happen for 100%, they're probably not going to do anything at all. Theo Hunter's commenting, Kiefer Moore, the striker we were close to signing. I think He was the first one,
Yes.
and now there's a second player we're close to signing. We've not heard anything about that player.
Well, a story about that one. When I read that Tan said in his interview, quote, he's going to change the dynamics of the championship.
Yeah.
We were sat in the Turkey hotel lobby with all the guys who went out there. And when I said that, everyone just sort of went, I have no idea who they're on about. And we have members of the media team sat around us who will know what's going on. They all just sort of look blankly at each other and we're like, what does that mean then?
I think that's more a turn of phrase, as in, we're in this league and we need a striker who plays in a different style. And it's a bad translation. I don't really think he's going to change the dynamics of the league and be the top goal scorer. I think I don't buy that as a sort of actual phrase myself. Maybe it is, but Tan's not usually the sort of person. Ajun said that. Oh yeah, he'd change the dynamics, blah, blah, blah. Tan's not going to say something wild like that. Maybe. But it's so difficult to tell.
I know. We're in a predicament, aren't we? I think we all just need to say as well, we understand the club will be working hard to get things done, but we are 2.5 weeks there or thereabouts until the start of the season, and we have not signed a single player further to what we had last season, and we have only.
The only thing I'm going to sort of say to justify is that considering we've signed, was it like 12 or 10 players last summer, 20 the summer before that, we know that this ownership is capable of bringing in a lot of players, especially on a free transfer and loans. My only thought is that because we know that they can sign players, the only reason why they're not doing that is because they're really trying to get players of good quality. Because I think we would rather wait a bit, sign good players than players now. But
there is that rumor of the brain team. Apparently, 80% of what's been offered to Tim Walter is an suggestion for a transfer. He's just batted away, supposedly.
That's what Adrian said, didn't he?
That's quite how many? Well, it sounds high, but it depends. Have they offered him 5 players and he said no to 4 of them? Because that's not many.
Yeah.
I imagine Adrian's just sort of saying, "Oh, Tim's rejected a lot there, and he's just come up with a number." But if that genuinely is the case, should we be questioning the amount of footballing brain collectively that the football brain team TM have?
I'm not sure it even exists.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's another phrase. We've got a brain team. Who's the brain team? It's just a scouting network.
Could you not just call it our scouts? And
also, no club is going to scout a player and agree a deal and get the medical done and agree the terms with the player, and then Walter's going to reject it. It's going to be, would you like us to pursue this player? No.
Yes.
We're not going to bother pursuing them until the manager wants them. They're not that stupid. Fingers crossed.
Should we talk about Oscar?
Some football owners are.
They are. But I think the recruitment has been really good so far. I think until we've had that, because if we sign
really good so far, do you mean this window or overall?
Under the ownership, under Ajun's ownership,
it's still hit and miss.
Yeah, but we have signed some very good players, especially the last transfer window. January was, we won the window and finished lower than we were before it. Somehow, I think even if we sign the first player will indicate the quality of the player we're going to get this summer, I'd like to think. And if that's a really good player, especially if it's a striker who does change the dynamics of the championship, then you'd like to think, oh, well, that's why we've been waiting, because they've said that quite a lot. Don't worry, once you see why we're taking so long and we sign Fabio Carvalho or Jaden Fidegene, etc., then you understand it. But then, if we were to go and sign someone like Buddy Sharp on a permanent from Doncaster, something stupid, then all of our sort of concerns will come true. And until that moment, I really don't know what to think. I'm still confident we can sign good players. I'm not confident we can sign as many as we would like because of how long we've left it. But yeah, we'll have to see. And then Neil Tigers there commented in, we need to sign Marek Rodak, who is Fulham second choice goalkeeper. I mean, we'll get on to one of the goals or some of the goals he conceded in the Fenerbahce friendly, but I think some competition for Panda, who is still very young and never played in the Championship, I think that would be a good decision.
I want to talk first of all about Kashan Pasha, because although that game wasn't streamed, having spent time in Turkey with people who were there at the game, Sam, one of the social media execs, came down and was with us all week, and he said to me at the Kashan Pasha game, because Panda was so high up, when we didn't do anything from a corner and they countered, Panda was the last man. So he just tackled the Kashan Pasha player on the ball at the halfway line and got nothing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the sort of thing you can do in a friendly, but I mean, we said it before the podcast. We want Panda to be lobbed and concede a goal in the pre-season, because then they'll think, well, maybe we shouldn't do that in the first match. Whereas if it happened in the first match and we lose the first game, then that's much worse. But Joe, you weren't impressed with his actual goalkeeping either.
Well, first thing I'll say is word to City Hall. Goal against Kashan Pasha, goal against Fenerbahce. The Bermudan boy smashing it. And chances are Tim Walter has said he's going to play a weakened team against Doncaster, quite a young team. So players like Nathan Tinsdale and I think Henry Sandat will be in that. Maybe Owen Foster, because both Tim and Harvey are injured. And then obviously Cine will get a chance against Donny tomorrow, which is nice and brilliant to hear. And then, well, let's go to Ivo Panda, shall we? Look, the Fenerbahce game, actually sat there watching it in the stadium. By the way, the atmosphere was mental. It's for a friendly that was announced the day before, Fenerbahce filled all the seats they could. There were a few where they're doing some construction works underneath, which they couldn't sell. And then there's the away end, which has a net between them and the Fenerbahce fans higher up, so they can't throw anything. And it's totally fenced in on all sides. Then, look, 45 minutes to kick off, and they're in there chanting. The referees come out to do their warm up. They're booed. Their names are announced on the tannoy before kickoff. They're booed. It was great. It's unlike any atmosphere I've ever experienced. So I implore anybody now I've been, to go to any Fenerbahce game and experience that. I imagine when Galatasaray turn up at the Cercle Sarajolu Stadium, that's one hell of an atmosphere to be in.
Probably less welcoming.
Yeah, definitely. To the game, for the first 30 minutes, Fenerbahce couldn't get the ball off us. They were booing.
We looked really sort of, we looked like we knew what we were doing, which after watching the England matches was a nice breath of fresh air.
Well, Fenerbahce fans were booing because they just couldn't get the ball off us. They were frustrated. We had a couple of half chances where Simons could have shot but wanted to square it to Abdush and waited too long to play the pass, and Fener got players back. A couple of crossing opportunities which weren't put into the right areas, so Livakovic caught them easily. A couple of things I noticed just in terms of tactically to look out for. On the press, Simons and Slater played so high up compared to Seri. They were pretty much as like centre forwards behind Longman as the out-and-out striker. Then sometimes Simons came right out to this near touchline and Abdush tucked in. Then you had Alfie Jones at one point, who was the last man in terms of going forward, sitting right on the offside. Sean McLaughlin did that sometimes. Louis Coyle moved into... Well, in terms of the rotations trying to get out, there was one where Pando played it short to Andy Smith. He went out to Louis Coyle. Coyle came back into Alfie Jones. Then Louis Coyle cut right along the front of the rest of the back four and went right the way over to the left-hand side where Matty Jacob was and was playing like just inside. There was one where, as we got hit on the counter, because Matty Jacob got sucked over to the right, everyone just shuffled over one and stayed like that for a little bit. And there was a time when they could have moved back. And if they moved back, then one of Feder's goals probably doesn't happen in the first half. Neil Tiger there mentions them playing in their own half, in the opposition half, the back four. A lot of the possession was in their half, and which was why Ivor Panda came out so far to be an 11th outfield player, so that there was an extra man to make space and stuff like that. There was another thing I picked up on at the time, but I can't remember quite what it was. Abdush moved centrally quite a bit. But yeah, so this, and you know, the bare bones of a good team is there. The bare bones of some good tactics.
And it's impressive if he can do it. He can come up with a sort of tactical system that looked pretty good against the Champions League team, with the fact we've made no signings.
Yeah. So he just needs some players, some better players, quite frankly. And, you know, with Oscar will fit into that system like a glove. Kiefer Moore would have fitted in so well in terms of where the crosses were being put into. But you put Oscar in an area where crosses, whether they're low or high, are being put, he can do something with that. So we haven't mentioned Oscar coming back from loan, have we? I think he'll play tomorrow against Doncaster.
Well, yeah, he's got to play at some point.
Well, he scored last time he played against him.
Well, he did. He did.
Good point.
Anyway, I'm waffling now, so let's talk about Ivor Panda. First goal he could maybe have done better with. Second goal, I'm not too sure. One goal was where Dzeko put a cross into the box, and I think Tadic beat Louis Coyle in the air and it was headed in. Ivor Panda should be saving that. And he should have been saving that, because the header didn't have a lot on it either. So it was like, it was sat there watching it in the stadium with Ivor Panda. As I'm sat looking at the pitch this way, Panda sort of over here, it was looking like he was diving in slow motion. You know, like Football Manager goalkeepers. That was the dive that he did. So, look, I'm not going to judge the lad off one game, but I think I heard the suggestion that signing Marek Rodak would just be a waste of wages. I don't think it would be, because we've got Panda, Ingram's now gone. Panda, Cartwright, Lottatala, and Owen Foster, the four
very young.
4 first-team goalkeepers at the minute. They've got, between them, about, 105 minutes of championship football between them that Harvey Cartwright got when both Matt Ingram and Nathan Baxter were injured.
Yeah, but it's probably not a bad idea to get someone of Rodak's quality as well.
If a mistake is made, and you know what Adjun was like with goalkeepers and making mistakes and wanting them out of the team, if it's his man making the mistake and you bring in another guy with 0 championship experience, then that's not much of a trade-off, is it? You're just pulling a player out for form reasons and putting another inexperienced lad into the baptism of fire.
You said it before the podcast started. I think Panda's probably not being helped by the fact Adjun has... I don't know whether he praised Panda, but he criticised Allsop, and then the implication is that Panda's better than Allsop. Well, and then, of course, he's not played in England before. He's a very young goalkeeper. He's only had like a year and a half of football.
He said in one
he's
of his
not perfect.
After he sacked Rosenior, that he said when he was naming the team player to player, he was like, we have Panda, our player in goal. And then only after he finished his 11 did he go, oh, we've got Allsop as well.
Yeah.
Allsop or Panda. Didn't mention Matt Ingram in that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to sign Rodak, actually, because I think he'd probably be a good player. But if he was the first signing we made, that'd be a bit annoying, considering I think it's left back is the only only position where we have 2 players. That's a proper sort of first team. Well, with Fleming, exactly. But I mean, the academy players are important, but
No. We've got 4 first team players, as in
who's the 4th? Sorry.
As in we've got Giles, Jacob, Fleming, and Furlong.
Oh, Furlong, exactly. Quite right. I mean,
I knew he'd forgotten about Furlong.
Well, literally, who cares?
But
sorry, but who cares?
Injury now. He'll play at Doncaster tomorrow. He's back from injury.
Yeah. So I think we cannot. If we sign a left back, I'd be livid. 'Cause, yeah, that's the
Just
only position
briefly
we've got.
before we move on,
Yeah.
on Panda, it's another example of the whole Adrian needs to activate his brain a bit faster than his mouth at times.
That's a good line.
The thing is, he's put Adrian's put Panda in a position where he's got extra pressure that he doesn't need, because he's essentially said, because of what he said in that Q&A, which funnily enough I'll just say up there, has never been released. It's funny that, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he's put extra pressure on Panda that he didn't need and didn't deserve.
That's why.
And
they
if
never
he
say
makes a
anything like
mistake, it's just like, if he makes a mistake, Panda, like in a major mistake in a league game, he will get probably more. He'll probably get a lot of more abuse than he would have done otherwise. From what Adrian said.
Well, he's a good young
it's not
goalkeeper,
fair to
and
players.
he's not ready yet. But we believe in him, and no, he's better than Allsop. Then yeah, it sort of, and it puts criticism on Adrian, puts criticism on Panda. Yeah, it's not ideal. And they're saying parachute payment Burnley turned away from Rodak because of his wages. Yeah, probably quite a lot of probably quite a high wage bill that he'd ask for, but
Who Vaclav Hladky gone to from Ipswich? Is it Burnley?
He's gone to Burnley. Yeah, I'm surprised.
He's for.
I must be getting mixed up with some other player because I thought he was much better than that. But yeah, I don't know. I was also, I'm pretty sure when we signed Panda, all of the Fortuna Sittard fans said that he wasn't that good on the ball. He seemed okay the other day.
Fenerbahce played on the halfway line. His passing was fine.
Yeah, seemed fine, and I think it just shows a certain level of confidence and confidence in your own ability to play on the ball if you are that high. I know that doesn't really make sense because I'm sure that's part of the system, but whenever Ingram did it anyway for under Rossini, he didn't look confident, but he seemed okay from what I saw in the friendly. What else can we say?
Oscar's back.
Yeah, so I think considering we have no strikers and considering that he has scored goals every place he's been in, other than France, where he only played 5 games and got injured, surely, we've already got a sort of championship proven striker. Vamos. I'm very excited about that. And who knows?
Get over him. He's not playing for us ever again. Stop bringing him up.
Yeah, bit you on the backside of that one, hasn't it, Will?
Yeah. Well, he hasn't played.
Did you expect us to recall him? Did you expect us to sell almost all of our players?
Always.
Not under Rossini, but under a new manager. Why not? Because I'm sure.
Exactly. I was saying that while Rossini was still in charge, and I did not see that coming.
No.
I was saying that when Rossini was in charge, to be fair. But, well, I asked Baz about it on Twitter, and he said there'll be news on that soon. And I said, right, he's the striker we're bringing in from externally, isn't he?
He's the striker who's going to change the dynamics of the league or whatever it was.
No.
Even though he'd already been in it.
Vamos!
He's exactly the type of player that a new manager would want to sign coming into a new club. So we already had him. So yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Had said, he said publicly in his conversations with Oscar, he showed him clips of how Robert Glatzel played for him at Hamburg.
Yeah.
And Oscar was like, oh my God, that's exactly how I play. Yes, please bring me back.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think Oscar proved that even if he had a bad game, you just put the ball in the 6-yard box and you could scrape a goal with him being, having a bad performance. So, by default, he's going to get a certain amount of goals. And if he played to his strengths, he's going to get even more. Because Rossini never played to his strengths and Oscar did not fit to Rossini's system. Both, of course, basically the same thing. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. I just wish we had some more players to be excited about as well. But yeah. Oh, here's a good question. Thank you, Enchep. That's a good question. What's the question? Do we think
For
Ryan
fuck's
Longman
sake.
lasts before the window closes or he stays? Well,
Tanner said he's staying. End of conversation.
considering that Sofia, whoever in Bulgaria, want to sign Lakilo, and Amur is sort of more of a midfield player, sort of attacking midfield player, number 10. If we sell Lakilo, Longman's literally the only winger we have left. So, again, I think Vaughan's more of a number 10 as well. I think he used to be. So you can't really sell your last winger because then...
Signing Emre Moore, mate. Remember that.
Well, yeah, we can sign as many wingers
Maybe,
as
maybe
we
the
want,
reason he's the last winger left is because nobody wants him.
How dare you?
Nah, that's incredibly harsh, and I hate that I just said that.
I think under a new manager as well, because he's still very young and he had a decent end to the season. He's a utility player. He can play almost every position.
Twitter,
that's useful.
I said on Twitter, any player coming in under a new manager deserves a chance to be able to show what they can do.
Fleming.
Like I say, if he finds the form when he was on loan, then it's fucking great stuff, and I hope he does, because I liked it when he was on loan. When he was here on loan, he was great.
Baz said Brandon Fleming's caught the eye, and his whole City career was all but over. This, at the end of last season. Tan said on Ryan Longman that they've invested in him financially and expect a return on their investment following a successful loan season, and Longman's committed. So,
yeah, and we have seen him play well. We've seen him score great goals. He can do that. It's not like a player who's never achieved anything. He can.
He's another, like Oscar, who, if Rossini was still here, he'd believe in.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. But I feel like maybe that sort of finishing ability with Longman and Oscar, with the goals Longman can score from outside the box, that might be kind of attracted to him. That, that sort of spark almost, because I don't know whether Longman would fit in that technical system of Rossini, but can he finish off this sort of chaos ball, sort of Volta tactic? Maybe. Maybe. And I do think, especially with the fact we haven't got any players, the fact Longman can play left wing, right wing, up front, number 10-ish. Wing back on both sides, full back if you wanted him to, is probably quite useful, because that's... one player that covers 4 positions on the bench there, and we're not going to have 4 players on the bench.
I will say about Ryan Longman as well, I spoke to him on Friday at Riva, and he said that the Fenerbahce game was difficult because their centre-halves are so big, and he just said that the new shirt holds water like nothing he's ever known or worn before.
Is that good?
Possible.
Or is that bad? No, that's bad.
It becomes heavier.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, here's a little...
It is worth mentioning he's unlikely to play in conditions similar to that in England.
Yes.
Definitely. And he's also unlikely to play up front again. And against Fenerbahce, because he's playing against someone like Jalal Soyuncu, who's massive, it was always going to be difficult for him to be in that game. As not a natural striker up against someone like that man marking him all game, when we're against Champions League opposition anyway, so it's going to be difficult to create chances. You can't judge him purely off that pre-season friendly.
No.
Again.
Longman assist against Fenerbahce. Longman assist.
He did. He assisted Cine Hall, didn't he?
I mean, I could have made that assist, but
It sends pressure though to win the ball back and let it fall to Longman.
It was good. And the pressing was the most impressive part.
Touch to bring it under control. Wallop. That's what happened in the under-21s, and you should all go down to North Ferriby on Wednesday to watch them.
Yeah.
7:45 kickoff.
I'm going to be at my grandfather's, so no. Sorry.
Let me down.
Now that's an ant comment I can get behind. I'd rather keep Longman over Lakilo. Thank you, finally.
Well, it is worth saying Lakilo only missed the Fenerbahce friendly because of illness. And I spoke to him at the airport, and I says, "Are you on the mend?" And he's like, "Sorry, what does that mean?" I was like, "Are you feeling better?" He's like, "Oh yeah, thank you." What is that whole slang?
On the men.
And then Harry Vaughan and I had to explain to him that it's just sort of like not just Hull slang, but it's like a turn of phrase for "hope you're feeling better, mate." He's like, "Oh well, thank you."
Wholesome. Very nice. Teaching the kilo slang.
Teaching Wakila to say "on the mend."
Anything else?
The
Who else have we been linked to?
facility, by the way, is mental.
Mm.
It's mad. As in, like, you walk through the doors, go through the security bit, and then as you turn right to go up towards the pitch, down this corridor, there is every single player who has ever been capped for the Turkish national team. The picture of their first call up on the wall. There's a very young Ozan Tufan on there. Then you get into this lobby, bottom of the stairs bit, and the door to go out to the pitch is right in front of you. You turn right, there's these screens that have all Turkish highlights on from the Euros, and then there's just a massive trophy cabinet right the way along the wall, and there's all sorts in there, as in the UEFA Youth Development League from 2013, something from the Iranian FA that the Turkish FA got given when they played them. Pretty much everything they've ever got must be in there. So, yeah, incredible. Absolutely, it's a crazy facility.
Yeah, I might have missed this because I was in Rome myself on holiday, but Turkey did pretty well at the Euros. Finally, dark horses after the previous Euros. You might have mentioned this, I don't know, but that's nice.
I did mention that exact wording.
Awesome.
So what you're saying is,
while you were gallivanting about about all across the continent and not telling anyone where you were.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was.
I wasn't
really odd.
I hadn't, gone missing or anything. I told my parents. I just hadn't told you lot. It was a planned trip. I had a nice time.
You didn't make any of us aware of.
No, sorry. The organisation was dreadful on my behalf. Yeah.
So there's me, Will, and Ant trying to be find out if you're alive.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Actually, it's real quickly worth mentioning, because someone mentioned about it being possibly a 7:30 kickoff for the Ferriby game.
I've just checked. It's not.
I didn't notice that. Well, either way, I noticed that the Newcastle friendly on Saturday is a 2:00 kickoff.
Yeah, it is. It's weird.
For anyone who didn't know.
Is that Saturday?
Yeah.
Saturday, 2:00. Interesting.
Well, on my
Newcastle on Saturday, then Fiorentina on Tuesday.
We're going to get slaughtered by Newcastle and Fiorentina.
Pre-season.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, really. But, yeah, I mean, we'll have Oscar, so hopefully he can get some goals, build up some confidence. It'll be really nice seeing him back because, it's nice seeing good players play for Hull City, but it's even nicer because it felt like he'd gone. And now he's back.
Yeah, now he's
back. We like Vamos. Vamos is great.
Vamos. It is 7:30, but the club say it's 7:40. So North Ferriby say it's 7:30, but Hull City say it's 7:45, which is weird.
The team's not going to show up.
That's good for Ferriby, because it's 15 minutes of no team on the pitch.
City haven't showed up tonight. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Ferriby's because their piece about it on social media came out sooner, but on City's website it still says 7:45.
Oh well.
Let's trust Zach on this one, shall we? Zach at Ferriby, what a bloke.
I think that's everything, though, isn't it?
I think so.
It's not the season, so there's not much to really talk about, especially when your team doesn't sign anyone.
Cynic injured again?
Oh yeah, who cares?
I mean,
probably
that's default, isn't it?
Well, I said the landing we got at Humberside Airport was really, really uncomfortable. So I joked to Mike White, who was sat a row or two in front of us, and the people sat directly next to me, that that landing just injured Dokan Cynic again.
Humour. Joke. Very good.
Yeah, I mean, based on the fact he apparently hurt himself getting out of bed, I imagine a bit of turbulence probably broke both his legs.
We didn't have any turbulence on the way back, so it would have been all right.
Just dreadful. Dreadful. Like I'll keep saying it. I hope he plays well for us and
I hope
gets
he
back from injury. He just won't.
This won't be reported because it's not happened at Cottingham, which might be indicative of why people blaming the training ground is nonsense. But while we've been out there, Harvey Cartwright's got injured, Tim Lottatala's got injured, Tyrell Sellers-Fleming's got injured, Dokan Sinic's got injured, Jason Lakilo fell ill. So perhaps it's not.
No.
Well,
The training ground. No.
perhaps it's not all the training ground. Perhaps it is just some of our players aren't robust.
No. Well, Cynic certainly isn't. Yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame because, when we signed him, that was kind of an exciting signing, but that went out the window as soon as he didn't play for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And got injured again after 2 weeks of playing.
And worked all summer this summer in Germany with a PT, working on his fitness.
Well, that's the last 2 summers he's done that. It's all 3, really. He's not actually played the first match. Dreadful. What? What's that, Will? What do I need to mention? I've forgotten.
We are supporting Simon Gray Travel this season, guys. So Simon Gray, what a legend. Go on. If you want to go to an away game, get in contact with him and get on his bus because he's been doing it for so many years. So support him if you can.
Well said, Joe. Well said. Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's probably a good place to end it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's the kit as well. There's the kit.
Yes.
The kit. It's a Hull City kit. End of the episode.
It's the Hull City shirt with stripes. There we go. See you later.
It's better than last season's because I didn't like the black back, but it's not. I wouldn't even say it's good. It's fine.
It's fine.
I don't think our kit, even when there's stripes, look like boring, plain stripe sort of Stoke City kits. This, to me, looks like a Stoke City kit.
That colour scheme is used by like 7 or 8 different teams. White and red stripes, whereas where the other team that uses amber and black stripes. Cambridge sometimes might use something similar, and Wolverhampton sometimes might use something similar, but that's about it.
Yeah.
What I will say, an exclusive here, is the embroidered badges, but the player versions are totally different to the supporters versions. So I've not seen a supporters version, but I've seen a player version. The collar is, how on last season's shirts it was quite rigid and didn't really move a lot. On the player versions, it's quite stretchy this year and it's detailed nicely. And I imagine the detail will be the same on the supporters version, but the player version still has the rubber badge because John Eyre knows how to wash them. So the embroidered badges will be just on the supporters one and on all the training wear because you don't have to do player specific training wears. Nice.
Well said, Joe. Good knowledge. So, we'll be back probably next week or maybe when we make a signing. So in, a year or so.
So so back next week then, because we won't be there when we make a signing.
See you the day before Bristol City, guys.
Yeah. Long 10-year contract. Yeah. So, Will, Joe, thanks for joining, and we'll be back not very soon. Bye-bye.
Okay.